Hello and welcome back to the 2005 Teradata Query Search-Off. I'm Chris Grissinger.
And I'm Nate Ellis.
For those of you just joining us, we're here to decide once and for all which search is the fastest.
Today we have a fierce competition for you folks between the primary index, the full table scan, and the secondary index.
Here's how the competition's going to work, Nate. Imagine that this bottle represents a table spread over the amps of a Teradata system, and the water inside this bottle represents the data.
Now the first to sift through its required amount of data to answer the query will walk off the field today as our winner.
Tera-fantastic! We now take you live to the official Teradata game site where the primary index is about to run.
For the primary index to stop the timer, all we'll have to do is take a small sip from the bottle.
Why is that, Nate?
Well, Chris, using a primary index is a 1 amp operation, so the parsing engine doesn't have to drink any unnecessary data. Holy Teradata!
Nate, that might be a new record.
You know, Chris, the officials may consider testing it for steroids.
Unbelievable! We've got to see that in instant replay.
That's even fast in slow motion, Chris.
Very efficient, Nate. Ooh, that'll be tough competition, Nate. But we do have the full table scan up on deck.
I spoke to Scout Steve Wilmus this morning. He said the full table scan has been looking very sluggish.
That might very well be, Nate. The full table scan did receive a leg injury in the off-season. Do you think that'll affect its performance today?
We'll have to see, Chris. Let's go there now. Now, Chris, he'll have to chug the entire bottle because the full table scan is an all-amp operation. It's going to have to go through all the data in the table in order to return an answer set.
He's chugging. That was pretty impressive. Unfortunately, the speed of the full table scan is dependent on the size of the table. Oh, he doesn't look happy about that one, Nate.
That is a 5-gallon jug worth of data, Chris.
Hey, but there's tables that big from time to time. A lot of important data. He's gonna have to chug it all. He can barely lift that over his head, Nate.
Oh, he's losing some data there, it looks like.
Well, that's a lot of data to be swallowing all at once anymore.
It's over for him, Chris. It is over for the full table scan. Do we not have a mercy rule in Teradata?
I'm not sure. We're gonna have to look this one up. He clearly needs to tap out. Is there a tap out rule, Nate?
This is just taking too long.
This is just silly.
He's covered in water, Chris.
I don't think that's water, Nate. Those might be his tears.
That was a bittersweet finish, Chris.
He finally accomplished it, but I don't know if that time's gonna come in with any sort of competitive nature.
You notice there as his excitement turned to sorrow. Clocking in at 16 hours, 42 minutes, and 14 seconds. Full table scan just didn't perform today.
Nate, I haven't seen a search that slow since Oracle's rookie year in 1977.
Well, fortunately, we have the secondary index up next.
Now, the secondary index is going to bring a very interesting strategy to this competition. Let's go and watch it in action.
What's happening here, Chris?
Well, Nate, the secondary index is creating a subtable on every amp, represented here by an official Teradata referee pouring out some of the 5-gallon jug into the water bottle.
We are currently checking the rulebook to see if what the secondary index doing is a legal maneuver. What does it say, Chris?
It's right here in the rulebook, Nate. It's perfectly legal. Instead of searching the 5-gallon table, the secondary index will only have to read from the sub-bottle.
Clever strategy, Chris, but will it be enough to beat the primary index?
We'll just have to see, Nate. We'll just have to see.
Well, the final results are in. In first place, winner by a landslide, we have the primary index. In a distant second, we have the secondary index. And in a far, far, far distant third, not even on the board, the full table scan. What happened today, Chris?
I'll tell you, Nate. The full table scan clearly wasn't expecting a competition of this magnitude. And if it wants to be a factor in next year's competition, it's going to have a lot of work to do in the off-season. Well, that's it for today. I'm Chris Grissinger.
And I'm Nate Ellis.
Tune in next week when we host the epic feud between the Intel Pentium 4 processor and its rival, the Intel Celeron processor, in a hot dog eating contest.